Watch and burn. So today I wanted to discuss Tipper Gore's Raising PG Kids in an X-Rated Society. This is the book she released back in the 80s for concerned parents to wrongly sort of like identify and be able to pick out which of their kids' music was satanic or leading them to a lifetime of drug and alcohol abuse, and how everything was essentially Slayer and Metallica's fault, which we all know now is kind of crazy, but nonetheless, this is a seriously entertaining read. You can essentially just kind of just flip, and when you're done flipping, toss your finger in, and I guarantee whatever page you've landed at, there's something really entertaining to be read about how heavy metal music, rock music, and even sometimes hip-hop is leading your kids straight to hell through a lifetime of drug abuse and, and worshiping Satan a lot of the time was apparently what they were doing, which we now know is insane. None of these bands really worshipped Satan. The ones that claim they did just did it to sell records. See, for example, I stopped here just before chapter 6, right before the chapter that talks about playing with fire, heavy metal Satanism. But you'll notice, see, just here at the random page that I stopped at, you can tell that this is a list of things that a concerned parent should watch out for concerning their kids and how they'll change once they get into, say, Metallica or Slayer. Things such as watch for an abandonment of favorite activities or people, watch for listlessness or expressions of feelings of worthlessness, such as I'm no good or I'm a failure. Take note of a marked withdrawal from family or close associates. Note any violent or extremely rebellious behavior, because if they get violent, it's not because of something wrong with them mentally or emotionally. It's because they got into Poison or Motley Crue. And like, to say something serious about this, if things were that simple, and you could stave off any form of mental illness just by controlling the type of music your kids listen to, that would be it. We could hit the switch on all forms of mental illness. We could just cut out Motley Crue, and that would be it. Everybody's kid would be safe and happy. So it's just too bad that it's not that simple. And it's also too bad that bands like Motley Crue got shit on by people like this, who had an incredible amount of power throughout the decade too, might I add. But yeah, like I said, you can just flip through this, and any page you stop on, there it is, the music video, New Kid on the Tube. Violent music videos can have a similar impact on younger children. MTV, the 24-hour rock music television channel, which has become one of the most important promotional media for new songs, provides the visual expansion. Many of the videos it airs actually reinforce or even exceed the violence and sexual explicitness of other television shows. Oh, fuck, eh? Like, she just won't let up. I think my favorite thing about this book is how she says in here that from time to time, these heavy metal rock bands will imply that there's something explicit on the album, or hint at how, Satan may be within, the confines of our LP, in hopes of enticing kids into buying them by hinting, like I said, that there's something explicit going on via the cover art or something summed up on the back saying like, whoa, look out, this record's too much for you, hoping to like draw the kid in, right? And on the cover of this album, the cover of this book, she does essentially the same thing, because down here in the bottom right-hand corner, it says explicit material, parental advisory. So she kind of she does herself what she is claiming these bands do in order to sell copies of their records. She essentially, like I said, did the same thing to sell copies of her book. Now, for people who don't know, Tipper Gore is the head of the PMRC, which was the Parents Music Resource Center. They were a big deal back in the 80s. They were the group that was responsible for getting the parental advisory explicit content sticker or label on every album. And as we all know now, as of 2022, it worked incredibly well. Every record still has it that requires it because they've hit a number of points that needed to be covered here, blah, 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 blah. Oh my God, you said fuck too many times, your record gets it. You refer to sex and drugs too many times, your record gets it. And this is the woman who was responsible for that sticker or label being placed on every explicit album ever since. Now, I suppose the one thing I could say that's good about this book is that she does hit the nail on the head with how these bands were pushing or making alcohol and drug use look cool to their fan base, who, of course, their fan base, a good chunk of it, were under the age of 21 or 19 or 18, or depending on what country you're in, and how, yeah, that's probably not good because, like Metallica, for example, their nickname was Alcoholica. And I know when my friends got into Metallica when we were kids, they all started drinking beer specifically because of Metallica, and they were like kids when they started. And they did that solely because Metallica drank a lot of beer, or that was how it was perceived. And well, of course, with Metallica, it was true. They drank a hell of a lot of alcohol. But yeah, so I don't know. I love this book. The title alone puts a smile on your face, Raising PG Kids in an X-Rated Society. You can't say that without cracking a smile because it's just so heavy-handed and it's trying so hard to demonize every form of popular media, no matter how off base it is. Towards the end of the book, for example, she cites how there was a hit and run a few blocks up from a Run DMC concert. And that's it. Nowhere from that point or in that paragraph in regards to the Run DMC concert does she try to say that Run DMC's lyrics said to hit and run people. No, it was just there was a Run DMC concert and a few blocks away somebody was involved in a hit and run, and she leaves it there, knowing full well that her incredibly paranoid reader base will draw the conclusion that if their kids get into Run DMC, they will hit and run people. And that's kind of the tone of the whole book summed up quickly, too. It's just these wide generalizations are tossed out there, and she knows that, like I said, the type of person that would read this and use this kind of as a how-to manual, they'd soak up every word of it like it was the word of God. And it worked because the book sold fairly well, and it affected a lot of kids' lives. Fuck, heaven forbid should your parents read this and then you come home with Motley Crue, shout at the devil, you know? That was it for you. You were headed off to the backing control center. But yeah, so look, I'm gonna go and see what I mean. You just open it up. Look at this. Just under Merchants of Death, the subheading is Media That Can Kill. And there's a picture. There's a number of pictures in the middle. There's Madonna. Rock idol Madonna performs on stage for a teen and preteen audience. It doesn't even say that Madonna's like slutty or whatever. It just says she's on stage performing. We're just assuming somehow that she's whatever. I can't be bothered. Well, look, oh my God, there's Sammy Hagar from Van Halen with a bottle of whiskey. Oh, fuck. What's next, eh? But yeah, like I said, every page you turn to in this has, see, planting the seed of suicide. Ozzy Osbourne's Suicide Solution came under fire big time back then, even though that song was about how suicide isn't any kind of solution. Thanks to people like her and the amount of money that these people had, and therefore the power they had, that song was demonized above and beyond as a call for his fans to commit suicide. Which, again, it so obviously wasn't had she just paid attention to the lyrics. But what can you do? The 80s are long over with, and they were a lot of fun, unless you got caught up in the middle of this and you had all your records taken, because that would suck. But look, I'm going to go. So thank you so much for sitting with me while I talked about Tipper Gore's awesome book, Raising PG Kids in an X-Rated Society. Thank you, and don't forget to like and subscribe, and have a good night. I just wanted to say thank you for making it through the entire video. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to remind everyone one more time, even though I've probably already done this in the video that you just watched, to please click the like button as well as the subscribe button because it helps this channel grow. And thank you for hitting like and subscribe, and we will see you guys really soon.